Thanks everyone for coming over. I'm glad you could make it. We're going to talk about kind of a touchy subject for a few, for many people, and that's weight loss. And so we have a very special guest with us here today, Dr. Jamie McManus. Dr. Jamie is the Chairman of Medical Affairs for Shaklee Corporation and Health Sciences. So welcome, Dr. Jamie.
Thank you, Jane. It's nice to be here with everybody.
Thank you.
Hi.
So I don't know about you guys, but it seems like, do you notice in the news, like maybe you open up the newspaper in the morning or you see an article in a magazine or you're watching the nightly news, that they're talking about the increased rates of obesity and the number of people that are overweight. It seems like it's on a daily basis now.
Even in kids.
Even in kids, exactly. So it's become a real problem. So Dr. Jamie, maybe you could kind of give us this skinny on fat.
Well, Jane, I could talk for hours about this. It's unfortunately a huge topic, no pun intended. We really are very concerned from a medical standpoint. I mean, clearly there's lots of issues from just the self-esteem and body image, that kind of issues that go along with gaining weight and not feeling good about yourself, all the way to significant health challenges as well as the financial ramifications of those health challenges. I mean, clearly you look back just a short 25 years ago to the mid-1980s when about 1 out of every 3 Americans were overweight to obese, and the medical community was just starting to figure out that there was significant health challenges associated with being overweight to obese, and the higher your weight was, the higher your risk were for various health challenges, including heart disease, diabetes, stroke, arthritis, all sorts of health problems. Just 25 years later, I mean, you think how long humans have been on the planet here, and in just 25 years we have doubled the percentage of Americans that are overweight to obese. Now 2 out of every 3 Americans are overweight to obese, with about 40% being obese. And the health challenges and the financial ramifications that are really of great concern.
So Dr. Jamie, it's a lot more now than just kind of fitting into your skinny jeans. I mean, there are some serious health implications that come with carrying all those extra pounds.
There really are. I mean, it's a gradual process. Obviously, we're not born overweight. Unfortunately, we're seeing it actually in children today as well. We're less active as a society, and we've kind of, I think, lost perspective on the size of people, the size of portions. I mean, it's really changed pretty dramatically in just a short time.
Well, I know that for myself, a couple of years ago, I lost some weight that I've been wanting to lose, but now I'm thinking, maybe can you give me the difference between being overweight and being obese? When do we step over that line? And I'm curious if I had stepped over that line.
Well, everybody may. We have some great success stories here with us today. But, I mean, basically being overweight is, you look on the BMI charts, which are available pretty much anywhere. And if your BMI is over 25, then it's actually at 25, you are considered overweight. So 25 to 29. You hit the BMI mark of 30 and you're obese. You hit the BMI mark of 35 and you're morbidly obese, which means you have serious health challenges that are going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's really a matter of when you get to the morbid obesity category.
How many people today are in that category?
Well, it's 2 out of every 3. I mean, we have 6 people sitting right here in the front part of the living room here, so that it's basically 2 out of every 3 Americans that are overweight to obese. So the 2 of you stand up and you can stay seated, and there's another 3 over here, and the 2 of you could stand up and you can stay seated.